Time for another episode, episode 66 of What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and tablets with Geeks on Tour.
That's us, teaching old dogs new tricks.
Right. Hi, I'm Jim, and together here with my wife, Chris, we are Geeks on Tour. Do you think your smartphone is smarter than you? And do you have questions about your Android phone or your iPad tablet? And how do you learn about these amazing devices?
We are geeks who teach, and we think the best way to learn is in bite-sized pieces on a regular basis. So we came up with this weekly show, and we come up with tidbits every week to teach you about smartphones and tablets. On our website, geeksontour.com, is all our tutorial videos.
Okay, where are we now, Chris?
We're in our motorhome. We love being in our motorhome, and we love being at this park, which is Thousand Trails Peace River in the middle of Florida. We are backed up to the river and really enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. So on today's show, we have the tip of the day, and this week it's Do Not Disturb. Our beginner's lesson is going to be on smartphone basics. And our app of the week is going to be Where Am I? Or Where Am I At if you're on an Apple phone. If you have questions, please ask them in the comments. And the show is recorded on YouTube. You can find it on our YouTube channel or off our main website, geeksontour.com /weekly show. Who are the Geeks on Tour?
In case it's your first time tuning in, we encourage you to go to our website, and right on the home page, if you scroll down a little bit, there's these little talking heads. Click there, and you can watch a video that's an overview of who we are and what we do. Our quick tip today is about Do Not Disturb. I have set this to be on between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. every morning. And I do think I'm sleeping better.
Yeah, because you don't have to worry about it. No noises?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to show you how to do that.
Okay. Are you ready over there?
I am.
Let's get that camera going then.
Okay. First of all, on the iPhone, the quick way just to turn on Do Not Disturb for right now is to swipe up from the bottom to the control center, and then it's that little moon, that half moon. But what I'm talking about is settings. You go into settings, and there is a setting specifically for Do Not Disturb. Right? Where'd it go? There it is. Do Not Disturb. And right here, if you turn on scheduled, you can tell it the hours that you want it to be in Do Not Disturb mode. And then you do not get phone calls. Now you can allow phone calls from individuals.
And that comes in real handy in case there's an emergency or something like that.
You know, I don't think I have any emergency contacts. So I just say, don't bother me.
Ever.
And I just like that a lot. On the Android, same idea.
Bring it down just a tad. There you go.
Once again, now all Androids might not have this. This is on version 5 of the Android operating system software. And on mine, the quick settings have a Do Not Disturb. And same thing, that just turns it on. But that's not what I'm talking about. I want to go into settings. And on the Android, it's under sound and notification. And it is down here, Do Not Disturb. And once again, I can have it scheduled. Now on means it's on right now. Set schedule mean it turns itself on every day starting at 10 p.m. and ending at 7 a.m. the next day. Try it. I think you'll like it.
Cool.
And that is my quick tip.
Great. Thanks so much. Let's go. Okay. I need to change that, don't I? We do invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Are you ready for your beginner's lesson?
I am, unless there's any questions, issues.
I don't see any questions
But
or
that's
issues.
good, because I probably have a bit to do on this one. We talked and struggled all week about what topics. I struggled. And I talked to him, and he said, just do it. What is it that is the first things you need to know? I mean, I really want to get back to some basics here. I tried to put myself in the place of somebody waking up Christmas morning and unwrapping a brand new smartphone, and they had never had one before.
And that's probably happened this.
I think there was. In fact,
recently.
We had somebody in our class.
That's right.
We were teaching Google Photos, and she said, I just got this phone last night, and it's my first one. So that's what started my wheels turning. And I first came up with about a 2-hour show. And then I had to keep chopping it down and chopping it down, chopping it down. So, but I was really thinking, how do you learn today's technology?
Well, we know you need some tech support. And a lot of folks, this is where you get your tech support, right? From the grandkids or your kids, somebody in the family or a close friend who already is an expert, and or at least you consider them an expert because they're like one page ahead in the manual.
Well, actually, and the kids can use it, no problem, but they can't necessarily teach it. So they're good to ask questions of when you're ready to ask questions. But when you first open the box, you don't even have any questions. But what do I do? So here's what I came up with as the first things you need to have skills on. Is it on? Because there are 4 different states. There's on, off, there's sleep, and there's locked. Then how do you use a touch screen? What is this tap? What is the difference between double tap, long press, drag, pinch, and zoom? And then generally navigating the device. The home button, the back button, the multitasking buttons. How do you search, and what are notifications? So that's what we're going to cover. And as usual, I'm going to do it on an iPhone and on my Android phone. And if there are any questions, please put them in down there. Okay, are they seeing that?
Yep.
Okay, and then once you get started, then how do you learn more? And I just wanted to throw this out there. Every phone does have a manual. Whether yours came with one or not, there is a manual. And you can just go online and Google for user manual for your exact model of phone. And I highly recommend getting that and downloading it. That's where you can learn everything. And of course, we think that you should watch the What Does This Button Do? If you go back in the archives, just go to geeksontour.com/weekly show. Every show is listed there. And like our first 7 shows were all on basics. That was a 1.5 years ago, so we're kind of revisiting it now. But those are great. Look for help on your device. I mean, mine actually has a big question mark app, and there's some great information in there. And of course, calling a friend is the main way that we all, calling a kid, most likely, is how we get the current information. And join a club or a class. This picture here is the Hilton Head Sun City Computer Club, and there are people in these clubs that are of great help. And there, you know, every community has some kind of computer club. Look for it.
Right.
All right, so these, and I'm going to go live now. And I'm going to start with the iPhone. First of all, how do you know if yours is an iPhone? I mean, somebody just unwrapping a, and I can tell you very easily, it's the round button. If your device, be it either a phone or a tablet, has a round button that you can push, you have an Apple device, an iPhone or an iPad. And I want to start with it on. So here, that's odd. Here is, this is actually Jim's iPhone. And
So be gentle.
yeah. And I want you to notice that he has icons. He has apps here. This is called his home screen. This is on. There's an app store. There's messages. There's camera. There's Facebook. Okay. So there is an on-off button, a power button on the top of the right side. I push that once and the screen goes blank. Is that off?
No, that is not off. The screen is off.
The
so
screen
it looks
is off,
right?
and you do need to keep the screen off. The screen consumes the most battery power of anything else. So whenever I see a phone laying on a table and the screen is on, I go over and I push that little power button. I want to turn the screen off. But that's just asleep. So if somebody called you right now, it would come to life. You'd get a phone call. You turn it back on or wake it up by pressing that same button. So that is also known as the sleep wake button. Sleep and wake.
On an iPad, that button is on the top.
Yeah, okay.
Unless you're holding it sideways, then it's on the side.
Now this phone is back asleep again. There's another way to bring it to life, and that is by pressing the round button known as the home button. And I pressed it just a little too hard. I want to just there. But what is this screen? I don't see any icons. There's no app store. There's no Facebook. That's called the lock screen. And you have to do something to unlock it. It says slide to unlock, but Jim has a password set on his.
I do.
And that can also be entered with a thumbprint. So I hold my thumb over the home button, and it comes back to life again. So this is called your home screen. That is called your lock screen, and there are different ways to unlock it. On his, I have registered my thumbprint. Okay. So now, how do you touch it to do things? Well, I want to get into something. Now that's a notification, and we're just going to let those appear and disappear. But let's say I want to go into Google Photos. I tap it. Now I say, no, I really didn't want to go into Google Photos. I wanted to go into Google Maps. What do? I press the home button to get back to the main home screen. So I don't see Google Maps on here. But if I swipe on the screen, I swipe over, take a look at these little white dots at the bottom. Oops. That is showing which home screen. There are several panels of the home screen. And all the way over on the fourth panel is where I see the Maps app. So tap that. Now I'm going to go back just to show you something. I tapped it. Now, what if tapping, you just didn't get it? You know, your fingers are real cold for one morning, or for some reason, tapping just didn't work for you. Most people press harder.
That didn't work, did it?
What's happened?
Well, they're all jiggling. What
They're
goes
all
on here?
jiggling. Yeah. What tapping harder is defined as a long press, and that does something else. So you really have to get the hang, and it's just practice of tapping. Now, how do I keep them from wiggling? How do I stop them from wiggling?
You need to press the home button again.
I press the home button. Okay, so it's a tap, not a hard touch. Pressing harder just does a long press.
A lot of people like to use those styluses or styli that have the little rubber tip on them.
Yeah.
And that makes it easier to find the right spot.
Okay, so I'm in Maps, and I say, oh, there's something on the main home page I want to show you. So I press Home. Now I'm on the 4th home page. What I've taught you so far is you have to swipe over to the first one. But if you just press Home again, that takes you to the 1st home page. And here is a purpose for those wiggling icons. If I long press on this NPR one, I can combine it with the NPR news and make a folder. So I long press on that. They all start wiggling. What that means is I can touch and hold and drag it up on top of NPR news, and now it's in a folder. So that saves me screen space. And once again, how do you stop them from wiggling?
Press the home button.
Press the home button. Okay. Now I want to go back to Maps, and that's on the 4th home page. I'm going to do it the long way by going all the way over, tapping on Maps. Now there's more. I've shown you now tap and long press, but there is also double tap. So I'm double tapping on Havana on the map, and every time I double tap, it zooms in a little bit further. Then there is also 2-finger gestures, they call it. 2 fingers and squeeze them together zooms out, so you see more of the map. 2 fingers and spread them apart zooms in, and you get closer in. How about a long press on the map? If I long press on somewhere on a map, it drops a pin. So there's double tap, pinch, we call that, and zoom when you spread, and long press. And they all do something different on any different app. So Maps is an app, and the different kinds of touches do different things. Okay. Now I want to go to Google Photos. I press the Home button. That takes me out to the last known home page panel. I press it again, and it takes me to the 1st home page panel, and there's Google Photos. And same thing, it just does different things. If I open a picture here, like that one of Jim by the river, how did I do that? I did that just by tapping. Now, double tap, zooms in. Double tap on that, zooms back out. So that's kind of different. But touch and spread your fingers, zooms in. Pinch your fingers, and it zooms out. Now, what if I say, okay, I want to look at another picture. I need to just back up one step. Well, that's what this left arrow in the upper left-hand corner, I back up to this step. Now pinch and zoom does something different. In Google Photos, a pinch gets out to a zoomed out view of the pictures. So I'm seeing years and month of pictures. Spreading fingers zooms into the pictures. Spreading them again, they get bigger. Spreading them again, they're a little bit bigger yet.
Now, this doesn't work in all apps.
No, I'm just saying there are different touching techniques, and try them all on whatever app you're using. It does something different in each one. Now, what if I wanted to go back to Maps now? What I've shown you so far, if I press Home, then I have to swipe over 4 screens to find it. But I was just at Maps. So that's called a recently used app, and you see those by double tapping on the Home button. There's Maps. I can go back to Photos, double tap, back to Photos, double tap, back to Maps. Those are recently used apps, and I use that all the time. I just press the Home button, and I'm here, and now I'm looking for an app called Runkeeper, and I don't see it. So there is something called Search. 2 ways to get to Search. The one that works on every screen is just swiping down from the middle it opens up this search field and I can type Runkeeper or just R-U-N-K, and it sees it. I can tap on it and it opens Runkeeper. So search is very, very handy. And it works for more than apps as well. Let's say I'm searching for a contact. I can swipe down and X out what was there, start typing a person's name. Oops. Okay, and there is Joe. He is a contact on this phone. So that's called Spotlight Search. The other way to get to it is by swiping all the way over to the left and then one more. There's Search. Okay, and the last thing is notifications. If you swipe down from the top, these are all the notifications. There's stuff going on today. There's your notifications. And this is a way to navigate around. If there's something on here that you say, oh yeah, I want to read that, you just tap on it. You don't have to make a note of it and then go out to your home page and find Facebook and then go in. You can just tap right from the notification. And that's it for the iPhone. Any questions on there?
I'm looking right now. I don't see any questions. I
Okay.
have quite a few comments.
Okay. All right. So this is my Samsung Galaxy S5 Android phone. And it is currently on. And note, oh, I didn't say how to actually turn it off, did I?
Oh, I think you should.
Yeah, I didn't do that on the, okay. Because this is very important.
Yeah, and Bill Osborne even mentioned that.
Better than turning the phone off. No, yeah. Sometimes you have to turn it off. You really do have to turn it off, usually for troubleshooting. I don't turn it off as a matter of course at any time unless there's something wrong. And what you have to do then is long press on the sleep wake, on the power button and the sleep wake, and then you slide the power it off. And when the screen goes dark, then it is off. And I'm not going to do it because I might need to show you something else on there. So that's how you actually turn it off, is to long press on the power button. And you know, things are getting so nice these days in that Apple and Android are really quite similar. So it's the same thing. This is now on. You see all my icons. If I tap the power button, it is now off, but it's not really off. It's just asleep. I tap the power button and I'm at my lock screen. In order to unlock it, I need my thumbprint. On this one, there's a difference. On this one, you have to swipe your thumb over the home button.
And if you don't have that biometric thumbprint reader, you have to know your PIN or a password or a particular
pattern.
You
can make a pattern.
Right.
So I turn it back off, or I turn the screen off. Always keep your screen off. Unless you are looking at it, keep your screen off. And this one, I too can wake it up by pressing the home button, because on the Samsung there is a physical home button. Now I just have to show you a different Android, and this one doesn't have a physical home button. It's just this round circle that's written in light.
It's a virtual button.
It's a virtual button. It's not a real button. So when it's off, when the screen is off, there is nothing to push. This is just a sound bar or something down here.
That's the speaker.
So the only way, if you have an Android without a physical button, the only way to wake it up is with the power button. But you turn it off completely the same way by holding down on the power button and then tapping the option that comes up to power off. Okay, that's all I'm going to do on that one. So I do want it on, because that is the on-off sleep and wake. Now, what about the lock screen? There are some things you can have on the lock screen. And some people have it set so that all I have to do is swipe and it unlocks. But for security purposes, it's good to have something else that unlocks it. All right. Now, tapping versus holding. Let's say that I want to get into my Google Maps, and my Google Maps is in this Google folder. And I just tap on it. And to close that folder, I tap on the background. If tapping didn't work and I try to press harder, nothing, it doesn't work, because a long press means something else. So notice if I tap the flashlight, that turns the flashlight on, which is a great thing. Very good to have a flashlight. If I tap it again, it turns the flashlight off. But if I long press it, there's nothing happens. But if you look closely, something did happen. Remove is up there. Oops, now my flashlight is gone. So you have to know where it is to put it back. And I'll get back to that. But the main thing there was just tap versus long press. Now I'm going to go to Maps, just to show you how the different gestures that work on Maps. Pinch zooms out. You can drag to any other place, or you can tap on the My Location, that bullseye, and it takes you right to where you are. You can long press to drop a pin. You can tap outside to get rid of that pin. And now what about doing the same types of things with photos? I tap the home button and my photos is in that same folder. I can tap on a picture, any picture. Take that, people up north. This is what we did yesterday. We were not done that.
Be
Double
nice
tap.
now. Don't rub it in too much.
Double tap zooms in, double tap zooms out, or spread your fingers, zooms in, pinch your fingers, zooms out, and then that will take you back. On the Android, there's another way to go back, and that's down here. That curly arrow, and the curly arrow will always take you back. And lots of apps have a back arrow in the upper left corner as well.
So remember that upper left corner. There will be a quiz.
So now, how do I get, so I'm on Photos. Back takes me out to the More Photos. Pinch in this view takes me to a month's worth of photos at a time in the Google Photos app. This is the Google Photos app. Spreading your fingers zooms in on whatever month I happen to be touching. Now, what if I want to go back to Maps? And I don't want to have to find it on the home screen. I say I was just in Maps. That's what these two squares, they are the recently used apps, and it shows everything that I've recently used. There's Maps. Recently used apps, there's Photos. Recently used apps, there's Maps. So that's how you go back and forth, and it's called multitasking. Search. The Google box on I think most every Android now comes with that pre-installed on the home page. I'm pretty sure. If you tap there, you can search for anything on the web, but you can also search for something on your phone. So Runkeeper. And there's the Runkeeper app on my phone.
And if you have that Google search, you can also use a dictation. You can tap on the microphone that's up there, or in a lot of cases, you can just say, "Okay, Google."
Launch Runkeeper. Okay.
You can also do that with Siri on the iPhone or iPad.
Right. And I just, that didn't make the cut.
Oh, okay.
And you can use the back button and keep pressing back until you get home, but you don't have to. The home button is how you get straight to home. And then notifications is a drag down from the top. And here are the different things that my phone is telling me is going on. And if I want to see these 19 new photos that Russ added to Facebook, I can just tap on the notification and it takes me straight there. So that's the navigation. So let's say now I kind of know my way around the phone, but I want to call somebody for help. Well, look at this. I have set up, and maybe you could have done this for your friend, set up a one tap, I want to call Jim and ask him a question. So I can just tap that once. It calls him. And presumably he'll answer.
What's that noise? Hello? Who is it?
Okay, so I would normally have this up to my ear, and I say, what did you do?
Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
hung up on me.
I didn't mean to. I did hang up on you.
Yes, these things are so touchy. Well, I have it set up so that it's very easy to just call you right back.
Hello.
Okay, so first of all, if I want to ask him a question about how to put something on my calendar, I'm going to need speaker so that I can hear him while I do other things. Now, how do I get to where my calendar is?
Well, first thing, you're going to have to put it on speakerphone.
I just did that. It's on speaker.
Now press the home button then.
I press the home button, and now I am where I can find my calendar, although it's not there. And there is the active phone call. It's telling me that the phone call is still active. I can still hear him. He can still hear me, but now he can tell me how to find my calendar.
I would do a search.
Since you, okay. So
I know where my calendar is, but I don't know where yours is.
And I just chose a web search there. It is this Google Calendar here on the phone that I wanted to go to. But he can be talking to me, telling me how to do stuff.
Telling you where to go.
Telling me where
how
to go.
Get there.
And when I figured it out, I say, thank you very much. I tap on his little face and I hang up. So that also is multitasking. You can be on a phone call and use your phone for other stuff, mainly by using the home button. Okay, so that was on, off, sleep and wake, different kinds of touches, and navigating on your device.
Very nice. I think we did have a question over here. Let's see. Andy G. Hello, good evening from Europe. Have you received Marshmallow update on your devices? I have Marshmallow on my Nexus phone, but not on my Samsung Note 3 phone yet. The Nexus phone, because it's a Google phone, actually probably gets its updates faster. My Samsung phone is on Verizon, and even though Google releases the updated version of Android, it's up to Verizon to determine when that goes out to my phone. Have you gotten yours yet?
Well, I'm on 5. That's not Marshmallow, is it?
I think it is.
Is it?
Yeah, I think you got the latest one.
I did have an update not too long ago. I didn't pay attention to which one it was. I know that it is 5.0.
Okay. Mine's 5.1, I think.
So I hope I'm not getting another one because then we'll have to redo this show again.
Okay, we do invite you to like us on Facebook. And app of the week. Let's get this in there. This is one that I really use whenever we move, and it is called Where Am I? It's available on Android. If you're on an Apple or an iOS device, there's an app called Where Am I At? It's very similar to Where Am I? It gives you some information about, and it uses your GPS, the location services on your phone or your tablet, and it tells you your latitude and longitude, and it puts a map up there of where you happen to be. It also gives you some more information about what county you're in. As an RVer, you really need to know what county you're in because weather warnings are by county. So if you're traveling and you don't know what county you're in, you might know what town you're in, but that's not what the Weather Service uses. That's one of the most important reasons to have this. The other one that I like is just the Where Am I for the Android. Now this gives you more information. It gives you information not only about the county you're in, but the telephone exchange. So if you have a telephone number, sometimes on a business or a billboard, you only see the 7 digits, not the 10 digits. This will tell you what the area code is. It'll tell you the zip code. It'll also give you some information about your sunrise and sunset times.
I just love that. That is just when we're traveling, and I want to arrange for happy hour. Well, when is sunset going to be? Or if somebody gives me a phone number but not with the first 3 digits.
I hate that.
And you can also share your location. You all you have to do is bring up Where Am I? It shows you where you are. Tap the share button, and you can email your location to somebody who you're inviting over.
Very cool. So our app of the week is Where Am I for the Android and Where Am I At for the iOS. Well, did you learn something? I know I did.
Okay.
The power button is also known as a sleep-wake button. What other button can wake a sleeping phone?
The home button, if it's a physical push button. If you don't have a physical push button on your phone, then the sleep-wake button or the power button is the only way.
What do you do with the power button to turn the phone off?
That we almost, and I didn't even show that on the Samsung. You hold down on it. So just press the power button and just hold down on it until a message appears.
And that's the physical button on the side there that is the home button.
No, the power button.
That's what I said, the power button.
The on-off button.
The on-off button.
On-off sleep-wake.
The sleep-wake button, the long button. And then you usually have to slide to turn it actually off. That keeps you from doing it.
And on the Android, there is a restart option. On the iPhone, there's only a power off. Power off, and then you have to hold down on the same button to power it back on. The Android does have an option for restart, so it powers it off and back on without you intervening.
Okay. True or false? If tapping an icon doesn't work, you should press harder.
I see people do that all the time.
The thing that drives me nuts is when we're trying to show somebody something and they have their phone and they're going like this. And I'm like, no, don't do it that way. You want to touch these things. Yeah, I say you want to touch it the way that it wants to be touched, like a woman. You want to touch her the way she likes to be touched. You get better results that way, don't you?
And if you do press harder, then you're doing a long press, which is a different command
And
than
things
a
might
tap.
happen that you did not expect or even want. Okay. If you're on a call and need to look at your calendar, what do you do?
Well, first you want to put the call on speaker, unless you have an earbud or something, so that you can still hear the call. And then you press the home button. That will take you home, and you can then do whatever you need to do on your phone. Look up a contact, look up a calendar, enter a note.
Play some music and forget about the call. If you don't see an app yet
you know it's on your phone,
and yet you know it's on your phone, what can you do?
search. On the Apple iPhone, you drag down from the middle or swipe all the way over to the left. You will see a search field at the top. On an Android, it is the Google search field. It will search your phone as well as the web.
And if you don't have a dedicated back button, like on the iPhone or on Chris's Samsung S.
Well, no, I'm saying like an iPhone does not have a back button.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you don't have a dedicated back button, like on an iPhone, where do you look for an on-screen back button?
Upper left-hand corner. It's becoming more and more standardized. Most all apps give you a way to back out a step with the arrow at the upper left corner.
Okay, Paul has a thing up here. He says there are 2 apps called Where Am I on Android Play. Which one should I use? Good question.
Look.
I have, yeah, take a look there.
I will.
I already had this loaded on my phone, so I didn't go back and look. I did look for it on the Apple, though. I'm still surprised.
Yeah, I see. It's the one by eGelta. Now, I have not looked at the one that says Where Am I by Smart Mob Solutions, but the one that and there's even another one, TA Soft. eGelta, EJELTA is the one we use.
Okay, great. Another question there from Paul. Have you tried Team Viewer?
Yes, Team Viewer is amazing.
Did we do that that would be a tough one.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one to demonstrate. It takes, and what Team Viewer is like, what is it on a computer?
Remote desktop.
Remote desktop, yeah. I can, if you have the right kind of phone and you install Team Viewer and I install Team Viewer, I can take control of your phone. You know, we've been accustomed to that kind of stuff with computers for a long time.
Sure. Remember PC Anywhere?
PC Anywhere, wow. Yeah. And there's a bunch of them. Team Viewer does allow that. And we have gotten it to work, but not with iPhones and not with all that many Androids. The last time we tried, I'd be interested to hear your experience.
Yeah, let us know. Cool. All right. What's the web page that lists all of our weekly shows?
GeeksOnTour.com.
That was great.
And the menu item is Weekly Show.
And the webpage that lists all of our recent newsletters.
GeeksOnTour.com. And the menu item is Blogs and Articles. Newsletters is under there.
A lot of good information on our website. And what benefits do you get by joining Geeks on Tour?
Access to all of our tutorial videos and the ability to ask any questions in our members Q&A. And then the show notes of these shows. So we've written up all the details for all 65, and I'll be doing this one tomorrow, shows, and that's for members only.
We do invite you to become a member at Geeks on Tour. Just go to our website, geeksontour.com, and click on the button that says Become a Member. Home is where the Wi-Fi connects automatically.
That's how I define home.
Okay, next time.
well, I haven't decided yet because we're still maybe getting a guest or two and talking about passwords. But if not, then it'll be something else. So I don't know yet.
Okay, but it will be episode 67. We'll take your questions. Watch for the notification for the next show. It usually goes out on Wednesday or Thursday. And click. Let us know that you're coming. Leave questions there in the comments on the Google Plus event page. If you leave questions, we will try and answer them during the show. Geeks on Tour,
So
technology training.
So we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week, and thanks for joining us.
And what does this button do?
Don't touch that
What does this
button.
button do?
Oh, no.